Welcome back to our Object Relations lecture series. Today I'm going to speak about the demon lover and the demon lover complex, which actually happens to be a theme in a lot of literary writings, going back particularly to the 19th century. And there was poetry, and there was the work of Emily Bronte and Emily Dickinson that featured these demon lover themes. But today, of course, I'm going to, as a psychoanalyst and psychotherapist, I'm going to speak about it in clinical terms. And it's going to be in addition to my video on the bad objects, because it's attachment to a particular kind of bad object. In my last video, I talked about how if in early mothering there isn't adequate responsiveness from the mother to the real developmental needs of the child, emotional, not just physical, emotional and physical needs, that development can be arrested and the mother can be experienced as either extremely depriving and withdrawn, or the mother, because of her own problems, can be abusive and attacking. And the child is forced to get attached to her because it's the one and only he or she has. But in addition, getting attached to that bad mother, then for a little girl, let's say, she can also get attached. She will also get attached to the father, particularly at the edible stage between 3 and 5 years old. And this will add to her hunger for an object, an erotic desire for an object. And if the father is also that object, she can get attached to some combined mother and then father figure that is either inadequate or attacking and abusive. And then it will be getting attached to a bad object, but also an eroticized object that we can call a demon lover, because she has wishes for the father to be a lover. And when the father is too narcissistic to respond to her needs, too unavailable, or actually abusive and attacking, and I have certainly seen cases of that with the father with a young woman, sexual molestation, threats that just are felt as so terrifying because the father's strong and big and little girls little. Or these, she's going to yearn to fall in love with daddy. This is part of our natural development at this stage. Little boys for their mother at that stage, and little girls for their father. Also, if there is a person is pathologically and biologically gay, they will also do this with their same-sex parent. The mother at the edible stage, or a little boy with the father at the edible stage, whichever gender it is, they're yearning for a lover, and they have erotic desires that color their attachment to the parent. And if the parent is a bad object, either abusive or inadequate and depriving, then they will attach to that particular one and only parent that they yearn for it to be in love with. And it will be not only an attachment to like a poisonous object they have to take in and spit out because they can't have that inner representation of the other at a symbolic level where they have a picture of the other and clearly differentiate who that parent is. And they won't have any of that development like for any attachment to a bad object. It'll just be like this aversive, viscerally felt other that they have to spit out or try to exercise by attacking others the way they were attacked. But when it's a demonic demon lover, and it becomes a whole demon lover complex where they can't stop addictively attaching to people that are experienced as the original demon lover parent, and then they get attached to others who then fall in love with, and they become then another demon lover that at first seems like a muse that's been inspired them and then turns into to a bad object and gets eroticized, so it becomes a demon lover that they can't leave, they can't constantly drawn back to. And there's no differentiation between the original parent and the later lovers they want. So they just compel, they're still hungry for that lover parent they never had. They never got through that stage, and they never internalized the sense of being loved in an erotic way by a benign parent. So they go after others that are really bad for them. But also, in addition to the primal hunger for the mother that leads one into swallowing and spitting out a person bad object, there also is the eroticized love and feeling of falling in love and desiring this person. So they first fall in love and then they feel trapped in something, but they can't get rid of their addictive craving for that particular person. There might be other people that they date or that they have romances that treat them so much better that they will go back to the demon lover, boyfriend or girlfriend, because they're the ones that stir up the same original attachment they had with the primal mother that they hungered for and with the primal father, if it's a little girl, the Oedipal stage, and then or what the opposite sex parent, or in the case of being gay, the same sex parent, but whichever one they were in love with at the Oedipal stage when they were 3 to 5 years old, they will then attach that craving plus the desire to fall in love and merge with the other through being in love. They will take this to indiscriminately to other men and women they date because they do not have a clear differentiated image of the original parent. So they will continually attach and be addicted to people that are bad for them and who yet they can't leave. They can't get them out of their mind, even if they literally separate. It's like withdrawal symptoms, like from a drug. It is a drug-like state of being in love with someone who is exploiting them or abusing them in one way or another, or abandoning, seducing them and then just abandoning them when they're most in need and most longing for them. So there are many demon lover themes, but to be in a demon lover complex means that the person is totally addicted and they're not free to select any other kind of person for their romantic love object. And so they have very intense, passionate desires for those who are either not there for them, who abandon them, or who are actively abusive and exploitative of them. So this is a serious situation. Now, in my writings, I've written quite a lot about the demon lover and the demon lover complex. In my book, The Compulsion to Create, Women Writers and Their Demon Lovers, which was published by Routledge and which is being reprinted, there are shown in the case of women artists and writers, women, I chose to write about women, particular women artists and writers, how they had this demon lover complex and how their lives deteriorated because of it, unless they got treatment that they needed. In object relations treatment, we can resolve this and we can help people to be attracted to people that aren't like the original parent, but it takes a long time and it takes a transitional attachment to the object relations therapist. I'm a psychologist, psychoanalyst, but I'm also an object relations theorist, and it's necessary to understand the object relations dynamics to know what this kind of malignant attachment is like that's so addictive, and how the mourning process is essential, a developmental mourning process in later terms, to help the person separate from the poisonous or demonic eroticized other that they long for. Even if they separate literally, they're still in their mind. They have to go through an intense healing process of feeling all that rage, need, the emptiness without the person, the longings for the person, and ultimately the grief and loss, which renews love to open them up to other objects in order to resolve the demon lover complex and be able to be in love with people that would be better for them. Although it's always very difficult because their original attachment And their original falling in love in this Oedipal stage, 3 to 5 years old, was with parents who was the demon lover and not the good lover or the good husband or wife. It can be done, but it takes serious treatment over time with an object relations therapist who can be internalized as a better other. So they learn that they can relate and have loving and sexual, erotic desires and all kinds of feelings for someone who is treating them with respect and helping them understand these addictive compulsions and how to feel things rather than just act out the addictive behavior and get attached again and again to those who are not good and who in fact are passionately desired as because they're erotic objects of erotic desire, not just also objects of need. So this combination of being an object of need and an object of erotic desire is a real double whammy for anyone who carries this demon lover complex because of the first two parents being so bad in the sense psychologically of assaulting their development or arresting it or not giving them what they need or being abusive and exploitative of them because the parents had problems. So this is some state of longing that can be transferred from the demon lover to the good lover, but it is absolutely necessary to have a therapist as a transitional relationship to allow this to take place and to help the person get to a level of development where they can differentiate the good from the bad other, the demonic lover from the serious committed lover, potentially. And the therapist will also have projections of the demon lover onto them. So it has to be a skilled therapist who understands that they will also be experienced as a demon lover. But instead of acting like a demon lover, the therapist can help the person understand why they're seeing them that way, how it goes back to the original parent, and that helps the differentiation process so that they can see the difference between the therapist and the original parent they fell in love with. So it's a continuing process of understanding, and it's very interesting how universal this is. The Jungians speak about a demon lover archetype and have spoken about demon lover complex, but from the object relations view, we deal with the actual real parents and their impact on the person in their early development, and we think in developmental terms. So we understand how development gets arrested and stuck in this addictive cycle when there isn't adequate both mother and father others. And for a little girl, the father could become particularly important at the 3 to 5 year old period to fall in love with. Little boy, it will be the mother. Or it could be the same sex parent as someone gay, but it's still a particular parent at a particular time. And these attachments will become addictive if the parent does not give them what they need to continue to grow and develop and find new relationships outside of their original passions for this parent of their child. And this is all we have time for today on the demon lover complex. I hope you understand that the bad object in some cases is actually an erotically desired lover object that one has erotic passions for in addition to hungers for in terms of emotional needs. Thank you very much.